If you take too much time to equip yourself to understand everything about how a business should be run, to get all the requisite requirements, the capital flows, to get everything as it were, you will never start. Start learning the process, start, keep moving. Just start.
Greetings, great entrepreneurs. Welcome so much to the Entrepreneurs Blueprint with Anthony Njagi. This is where great entrepreneurs are molded. And I am so excited because throughout the journey that we started from the very first video on the Gen Zs at the workplace to entrepreneurship and considering entrepreneurship and all through, and now we are asking, do I need a business plan? So welcome so much for today's video with Anthony Njagi. He is an author of 3 books, Thriving Entrepreneurs, The Street Smart Entrepreneurs, and What Kenyan Entrepreneurs Never Tell You. A good friend of mine would say, Africa, we are Africans and Africa remains our business. So today we ask ourselves, do we need a business plan? So Mr. Anthony Njagi, can you tell us if we need a business plan or we can just wake up and start business?
Thank you so much, Lillian. Thank you for the question. On whether you need business, I don't know whether you're asking on behalf of Gen Zs or you're just asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend.
That's a loaded question. I would even call it's a philosophical question. Do I need a business plan? And my question would be, at what point? Is it before you start or on your way? Because my experience and that of many people who are in entrepreneurship will tell you that probably, without being very particular or factual about the figures, let me just say I would imagine that a vast majority of entrepreneurs in the entrepreneurial landscape, they not start with a business plan. Why? Because there are so many dynamics in running a business that a business plan may not sufficiently anticipate, as it were. When I look at my case, I currently sell computers, right? We do CCTV installations, we do networking. The kind of business I'm doing right now, if I needed to have a business plan for me to start, I would not have started. Why? Because I started from way back. And if you watch the previous video, you will see that I actually started as somebody who was selling phones and memory cards on someone's behalf, on Martin's behalf, as it were. But gradually, new opportunities come in, there's evolution that happens. So if I were to stick to a business plan, really, I wouldn't still be in business. A business plan is important in some cases. For instance, a person who is already on the move, not the one who is starting, but is already on the move, has seen a bit of realities about how businesses are run, and probably they want to get investors on board. They probably are looking for financing, and a business plan is a prerequisite. But even after that, in most cases you find that people will still deviate because of the realities. I could have a business plan that even has costing and everything. This is how I'm going to be selling my items. But the next day after launching that business, a competitor comes out of nowhere and reduces the price levels to a level where if I continued to stick to my plan, I wouldn't survive. So what I'm saying is that a business plan, in essence, should never stop anyone from starting a business. The lack of it should not stop anyone from starting a business, because there's so many realities in business. You never asked this, but let me quickly mention that what I find more important as an entrepreneur is something called the business model canvas. The business model canvas is just a one-page document. You know, business plans can be over 40 pages. Most of them are over 40 pages. But a business model canvas is just a one-page presentation of your entire business, where you can capture who are my customers, you know, who are my intended customers, my target customers. I'm going to be working with this institution, I'm going to be working with this hotel, I'm going to be working with this communication firm. These are my target customers. That becomes the first building block. The second building block is the value proposition. What is my business going to be offering? If, for instance, I am, you know, Isaboke of E-Generation, I will probably ask myself, what is it that I'm offering to clients? And he will say things like, I'm doing indoor photography, I'm doing outdoor photography, I'm also doing outdoor videography. What else can I add to this business that I'm doing? Then he can realize that he can actually even venture into businesses like podcast and that kind of thing, and he captures that in a business model canvas. Then he'll probably ask himself, what are the customer relationships? How do I maintain my customers? Another building block, which tells him that he needs to advertise for him to have those customers as a way of maintaining customer relationships. The canvas will at a glimpse tell him, this is what I need to do. This is how I need to engage with my customers. This is where they are found. Some are on TikTok, some are on YouTube, some are on Facebook, some are on Instagram. And actually for him, I think the most of his target group would probably be in Instagram, as it were. Then he'll ask himself, what are my cost structures? You know, where do my costs go to? Who are my key partners? What are the key resources that I need? But also, what are the revenue streams out of this business that I am doing? And when you count all those building blocks, you realize that there are just nine building blocks. And at a glimpse, you can know, these are my key partners, these are the people I need to keep close, these are the partners without whom I would not be in business, as it were. Then he'll ask himself, what are the key resources? I need a video a recorder. You know, nowadays we've gone from DSRs to USRs. He'll ask him, if he's doing videos, he'll also need to have some good mics, as it were, for audio. To reach the podcast segment of customers. And when he looks at the key resources, he will now be able to establish that these are the costs that I need to run this business. If I were to open another branch of E-Generation, these are the costs that I would need. That gives him at a glimpse what he would even require should he be approaching potential investors, potential partners, and potential, supplier relationships. So when you look at the cost structure, you look at it and look at your potential revenues from the revenue streams, and when you balance and see that the difference between the revenue streams and the cost structure is likely to leave me something, then I know that this is a business I can venture into. The beautiful thing about the business model canvas is that you can always edit it, because it's just one page. You can say, I have realized that working with institutions, government institutions, this also one is a no-go, because probably they delay in payments, this will not work for me. I need cash flow, because they say cash flow is king. And so he's able to strike out that potential customer segment just with the stroke of a pen, and continue using the business model canvas as a single page document. So really, business plans are not for everyone. That's the point. Business plans are majorly for people who are already on the go and who probably have to have it for them to get financing, for them to get funding, for them to get investors on board. But for a person who is looking forward to starting a business, spare yourself the hassle of going through those details and even failing to start just because you have not done a 40+ page, business plan. Yes.
So what you are advocating for is a business model canvas
for a person who is starting.
Nice. So because
and I train a lot on the same. Yeah, actually, the business model canvas, I've even gone to Arusha to train on the same. I've done it with an organization called Asante Africa, sometime in partnership with the Lewa Foundation. So the business model canvas really is what I would advocate for a person who is looking forward to start. And I mostly talk to people who are just starting. Yes.
Wow. I guess if you are there listening and probably you would want some guidance, we shall drop a contact line where you will contact Mr. Anthony to guide you on the business model Canva. You can also get his books because it is in one of his books where he has vastly talked about the business model Canva.
Yes, it's in my second book, The Street Smart Entrepreneur.
Thank
you.
Guys, you need to get books, you need to get trainings so that you become a better entrepreneur. So just to mention, you can also mention some of the businesses which have thrived, not just because of the business plan, but also of the business model Canva that you are advocating for.
Oh, okay. I don't know whether they used the business model Canvas, but one thing I know is that there are many businesses that are prosperous today, but did not follow through probably the initial plan, as it were, that probably did not even have a plan on getting where they are today. One of the companies, you know, the guy in front of you, the guy in front of you, it started as a textile company. How they came into the automobile business, the story for another day. But they started as a textile company. Colgate, a very interesting story. Colgate, you know, this guy was just a soap maker, and then he realized that the mouth soap is what was on demand, more than the soap that was being used, you know, the one that we use for bathing. And somehow he transited, and today we know Colgate Palmolive as one of, you know, the world would be unrecognizable without Colgate products. Yes.
Wow, I didn't know that. At least now I also know about those Colgate most especially.
Wrigley's, for instance. Wrigley's, this guy was selling soap, and he, as he was selling soap, he would give sweets, you know, the chewing gums, as free gifts, you know. Unanunua sabuni, and he gives you some sweets, and he realized that the sweets were more popular. Somehow the sweets became more popular than the soap and that's how we have Wrigley's today, the makers of PK. All of us have tasted PK chewing gum. I mean, anytime you're going somewhere and you're not so sure about yourself, especially if you're going to meet a significant other, you have chances are you have armed yourself with a PK. You did not start with a plan to have PK as the main business. You know, it started as those were giveaways, and then this guy was so sharp, and he realized that, hey, these ones are more popular than what I'm selling, and that is where he channeled his energies, and we have PK today. Yes.
I have heard you say that most people fear getting started because of a business plan. What other mistakes do people make before, like when they want to venture into business? There are mistakes that people do. Apart from getting scared, what other mistakes do they make?
I think one of the other mistakes that people make is that they think big and want to start big. And I have always been an advocate of, you know, think big. It's important to think big, but start small. Start with what you have. Start with what you have. I may be having this huge dream of running a huge, you know, telecommunications company, or just to use a dream that is closer home of owning, you know, a chain of supermarkets. But people don't realize that the most important thing is to start from where you are. Start with that. I mean, the story of Tusk is well documented, even in my book, What Kenyan Entrepreneurs Never Tell You. The guy started just as a village shopkeeper. And it was actually a retirement gift that he had been given by his former employer. This man, his name is Kamau. Kamau, the founder of Tuskys, started that business as a reward that he had been given by the owners of Nakumatt for his long time of service. I think he was a driver or something. Then as a retirement gift, they put for him a shop, you know, literally translated. Wakamwekea duka. They put for him a shop in the village, and that is how he started Tusker Mattresses. And it kept on growing. And because he had understood about supplier relationships, about the, you know, the working capital cycle, as it were, that most of what these guys were selling was actually supplied on debt and to be paid at a later date. He leveraged that. And the most interesting thing is that in the year 2018, Tuskys actually came to the rescue of Nakumatt when Nakumatt was sinking. Unfortunately, both eventually are no longer in our landscape. But Tuskys grew to that level where it even outpaced the Nakumatt, which had given birth to it, figuratively speaking. So one of the things that people mistake is that you need to start big. You need to start with a big brand. The truth is, think big, start small. Just start. Just start. Yes.
Wow. Just start.
Just start.
Wow. I guess by now, dear listener, you don't have an excuse. You don't have to make a mistake. Just start and start small. Think big, but start small. Maybe if you have a parting shot?
The parting shot would be what I have already said, that it's important to think big. It's important to have big dreams. It's important to do your analysis before you get into a business. But don't be caught up in the paralysis of analysis. We've talked about that before. Just start. And remember, by the time the fool is learning how to play, the players have already dispersed. If you take too much time to equip yourself to understand everything about how a business should be run, to get all the requisite requirements, the capital flow, to get everything as it were, you will never start. Start, learn in the process, start, keep moving. Just start.
Thank you so much. I am challenged. I don't want to add anything. Guys, see you on the next. My name is Lilian Favor.